Now, entering the lore territory over here, the whole lore for this event, I think it's pretty obvious from the start. There's like this entity. Okay, we're gonna start with this entity. What are they? A devil? A demon? We don't know. Okay, they're an entity. Obviously, in the credits, I put devil because it's just easier for credits. But it's an entity. What is this entity's name? They do have a name. However, I'm not going to share that name right now. So for now, we're gonna call them Nameless. Are they connected to my lore somehow? Somehow, yes. It's just like an AU. It's like a spin-off. And now to explain the spin-off. Why is it a spin-off? Well, obviously, my lore can't connect or cannot include like any of these people from other places, right? Because they are separate beings, separate IPs. If we're talking about that kind of like, you know, industry-wise. So how did I make it so that this can connect with lore? Well, it's a spin-off. It's a spin-off. This spin-off, this entity, Nameless, can control souls and is timeless, a celestial being, and they can pluck souls from different worlds, like tear through the fabric of reality. Kind of similar to Avalon, kind of similar to the crystals, right? So what did they do? They took 12 souls, 12 of the souls that they wanted to devour, and put them in one stage because they were bored. This entity is somehow related to my curse. Not entirely, but somehow. Let's just keep it like that for now. In the story, when the souls were extracted to entertain the Nameless entity, were each one of the singers conscious about what was happening? No, actually, no. They didn't know. I would have loved to explain more the in-between things, but like I said, budget reasons is the reason why, but I can definitely explain. They were confused. As, you know, as a character being like just yoinked from your world, they were confused and they didn't know what was happening, but they had the adrenaline of like, you know, having to sing to survive. And they just gotta do what they're best at, singing, right? They went along with it. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? What can you do when just some otherworldly entity can, like, take out your soul and kill you in 1 second? That's why you see in the opening, the first stage, Octavio and Usan having some words in between their songs. That was definitely also a choice, because it's kind of like an opener, right? It's an opener. Was the claw machine animation inspired by Danganronpa? Yes, yes. Thank you for asking. Yes, it was. That was my reference, and the music as well. Yes, I wanted to have something like the trials from Danganronpa. Yeah, but you know, its own thing. But that same feel, like pixel art, you know. I specifically asked for pixel art. Felt like it was giving Danganronpa vibes. Yeah, that's the whole idea about it. I'm glad you thought so. Even the music. Yeah, even the music. I sound engineered the whole thing. Like the animation and the segment with the lore as well. Yeah, so every single little sound, you can, if you play that again, you probably maybe notice it, but you probably didn't. But every single little noise and sound that you find there, I put it there. Like you could hear the chains, you know, doing the chain sounds, the zooms, the clankiness of the claw machine, the picking, all the little sounds. Yeah, all of that I did it myself. Yeah, it was just hours and hours of like looking for the right sounds that it matches perfectly as well. Like cutting here, editing there, adding pitch, subtracting pitch, all that stuff. It was hard because it's the first time that I do something like this. It's the first time that I do something like this, but I was super excited about doing it myself. How did you decide to choose your song? Actually, really funny. I can give you that. I can tell you that. Obviously, that song was decided between me and Calyx. That was the best one, but we had other choices. We had other choices. We had three choices, I believe. Oh, there were two actually. There were two, not three. The first one was the first pick, like number one pick was Chained,
you mentioned
right?
Wanting to do something
The one that we
like
did.
This a while.
And then let me see. How do you pronounce this? Airo Toao. It's a Kenshi Yonezu, and yeah, Kenshi Yonezu song. Kenshi Yonezu, yeah. That was the second choice. There were many others that we kind of like dropped, but like we came into like the conclusion it had to be one of those two. But we proposed doing Yellow by Kamiyama. Nonsense Bungaku, I think that's the name, is by Eve. And In My Head by Natori. And Scar by Tatsuya Kitani. But we ended up with Chained in the end, which was the best vibe for a final stage. So yeah, we were kind of like deciding like, what do we want people to feel? We want them to be hyped, or we want them to give them like a melancholic ending, or like a sad ending, you know, with a sad song. So we came up with just like being like, let's have them hyped, because Chained is a very hype song. So yeah. Why is it called Soul Vault? I came with a lot of names actually, but I think Soul Vault was probably the best one. Because I didn't want to be too close to Alien Stage, right? I didn't want to do something like the first stage or the Soul stage, because, you know, having the word stage would have been like, it's way too close to it. I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to get in trouble. Second of all, I want to do my own thing, right? So I decided to just call it Soul Vault. And a lot of people, I think one specific post actually mentioned the meaning of soul and vault, right? Which, yeah, you were pretty spot on. Yeah. The Soul Vault is the machine, the claw machine that you saw at the beginning. I don't know if you caught it, but it says Soul Vault at the top. It's basically like a representation of like what it is, right? Physical representation. Your souls get put into that machine, and that's the Soul Vault.